Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here, as looks about title today's video, here to showcase the #1 shooting guard build in NBA 2K23 for Comp Pro-Am. So, as you can see, the meta in my opinion has completely shifted as far as like being acceptable with 92 3-pointer, whether it's a point guard or shooting guard, to truly, I feel like 97, 99 3 type stuff is really taking over. So, in today's video, we have the shooting guard build that Apollo uses on our Comp Pro-Am team. 6'1" with a 6'2" wingspan for 99 3-pointer, 165 pounds. You want to be pretty much as lightweight as possible. And also, I would advise to maybe make it a shooting guard if you're really worried about Comp Pro-Am. If you're worried about maybe just wanting to have more fun in the rec center and maybe you want some point guard touches as well, you could probably put the build to a point guard because your 75 pass ac will likely be okay depending on who you play with as your point guard in Comp Pro-Am. Because after the tiebreakers, if you both make it a point guard, it's all about pass accuracy. So if you have 75 on this build right here, but your point guard on your team has 80, your point guard will actually be at the 1 and you will be at the 2, even if you're listed at a point guard as far as your position goes. But anyway, into the build, as you can see, 16 finishing badges. We have enough for the limitless takeoff on silver. We all know this is pretty standard. I won't spend too much time talking about it. It's the same old thing for guards over and over again. 77 layups, you get that extra badge point with the fearless finisher on silver. 80 driving dunk for the limitless takeoff on silver, plus quick drops off 1. It's so standard, and it'll probably never change for that matter. But 99 3-pointer with 84 mid-range. 84 is kind of just the minimum, but that's really still cool. 84 mid is really elite. And pair that with Hall of Fame mini magician, this stuff goes crazy. Now, let's talk about the real kicker and the power of this build. 99 3-pointer, Hall of Fame on every tier 3, Deadeye, Limitless, Blinders, and Agent. Now, with this build, I really do think it'd be extremely necessary, or at least convenient, to have the double shooting core. Now, I know that's not everybody out there, and this is what Apollo is going to be running because he has it, and we grinded in the Season 3 and stuff like that, but if you have it, that would be extremely ideal, because as you can see, it's a lot of tier 3 Hall of Fame badges worth 8 points that you could save like double on. 16 badge points for free, just like that. And that would all be at the expense of not being able to run a finishing badge, but who cares? I mean, at this point we have Limitless Takeoff, Fearless Finisher, and Giant Slayer, and then probably just Bronze Acrobat, and it'd be as simple as that. Obviously, we don't really care that much about a bronze poster or silver core, so again, it'd be really ideal if you have the double shooting core, but it's okay if not. You're still going to play with the build. It just probably means you can't run Hall of Fame Deadeye. But if you do have the double shooting core, you actually can run all 4 of the tier 3s on Hall of Fame. It's pretty crazy. We'll get to the badge loadouts in just a second. But 89 ball handle for the Hall of Fame quick first step. What would be nice, let's say you were willing to maybe go down on acceleration. What would be nice is to go 1 up on the speed with ball and 1 up on the ball handle as well. Because as you can see, this gets you extra badge points in each category. So if you were maybe willing and accepting to do something like that, it would be kind of nice. But I understand that's not exactly everybody's cup of tea, and at the end of the day, the playmaking badge count isn't that bad. It's nothing completely out of this world as far as being poor at performing with the ball handling type stuff. You just probably won't be able to run needle thread or anything like that, but you can still run quick first step, unpluckable, clamp breaker on like the core, and then the silver handles for days as well. As far as the defense goes, we want to have 16 defensive badges to be able to run challenger on silver and interceptor on silver. Not to mention, we obviously just want the 79 perimeter defense just for that reason too. With this build, you're not going to be running clamps or glove, but that's okay. After the glove patch, to be honest, I don't even think it's worth going with that 85 steel for the silver glove, especially with a build like this. I would much prefer to have interceptor because you're playing the shooting guard, which means in Comp Pro-Am, usually it's like a cross between the big and small positions besides shooting guards. So for instance, like locks guard point guards guard locks, power forwards guard centers because they want to be in the PNR defense for the hedge, aka the back end, quote unquote. And then obviously centers guard power forwards because generally the power forwards are spotting up in the corner. You just want the bigger guy between your point guard and center who are guarding the corners to guard the big one, aka that's why centers end up on power forwards most likely. So the only position that doesn't swing over to a different position as far as what you defend is usually shooting guards. So defensively, this is not a great matchup. I'll just put it like that. I mean, to have silver challenger and silver interceptor for a 99 3-point build to defend it, if you just put 2 of these on opposite teams, they'd be guarding each other. And I think the favor leans toward offense. But I will say, not every team has this. Most team shooting guards are 6'3" that have really bad attribute ratings and just caps in general. And I think it's a walk in the park to defend them with this type of a build right here. But that's because that's what the current shooting guard meta is, quote unquote, is that 6'3" BS. This right here is what will take over, in my opinion. And I think this is a freakish build, 100%. Anyway, moving along, we have a speed at 80. That's perfectly fine for being a shooting guard. We want to get this a little bit higher than the 75 that you'd be forced to go to, though, because as you can see, you could only have 75 speed, but I think personally for playing shooting guard, you're going to be doing a lot of like running around off balls and stuff like that. Dudes running wraps, you're going to follow the wraps, you're going to do all types of stuff that have to do with defense and speed being necessary. So I think 80 is as low as you want to go, in my personal opinion. This might even be cutting it out a little bit too low, but I've seen it performed on perfectly fine with 80. It's all good. Also, one little side note, does the font look different to you guys for the badge points? It looks really weird to me. I don't know if I'm the only one in this boat. Maybe if I see another video of mine or something like that, I'll like look into that. But this is just after the update of the whole like open shooting versus contested shooting. We'll make another video on that very likely if I get some more gameplay. But I just thought this font looks a little bit different. Maybe I'm tripping though. But anyway, for the takeovers, after that tangent, for the takeovers, we only have shot and sharp. That is one thing that probably sucks about this build a little bit though, but honestly the double limitless range is probably all we'll be running for comp pro-am. It is what it is. I mean, if you had play take secondary, that could be cool, or maybe if you wanted to be really helpful to your team and run play take primary, it could be a cool thing to do as a shooting guard. I will say too, with the Hall of Fame Limitless Range badge, this thing goes crazy. I don't even know if you need Limitless Takeover in general. So if you want to run Spot Up Precision instead, for that reason, I'm all for it if you really wanted to. Or if you want to run a Shot Creator Takeover instead too. It's kind of whatever. This is one of the builds I've tested the least as far as takeovers go. So I'm definitely up in the air with a lot of different things between pull-up precision, negative impact, spot up, limitless, all types of stuff like that. Alright, so let's talk about the badge loadouts. It's very obvious that defensively you're going to be guarding the wing, like I said. Now maybe if you run with a team that you have a very similar level of defense to, maybe you could switch with your point guard and your point guard wants to run the wing because he can get on the fast break and stuff like that. Or I've seen 5-out teams that do this stuff as well, where they put a build like this in the corner, but put like their 6'8" point guard or something like that on the wing so he can get out on the fast break, get free easy dunks, stuff like that. But I think for this build particularly, you're going to want this to play wing defense. It looks plenty fine with it with a good 80 speed. You got the Silver Challenger, Silver Interceptor, and then also getting out on the break with 99 three-pointer with quick drop sounds pretty lethal too. So defensively, you want Pick Dodger and Workhorse likely. You maybe could switch off Workhorse for Menace if that's what you feel comfortable doing. It's kind of the 50-50 to me as far as that stuff goes. Ankle brace is not extremely necessary. There's no way shooting guards can afford to run killer combos, to be honest with you. That's crazy talk. I don't know how they ever could even imagine to, unless they just didn't run Clamp Breaker, in which case it's probably a bad move because obviously shooting guards can't really afford to run clamps. So Clamp Breaker as shooting guard seems pretty necessary to me. And while we're here, let's just talk about the extra badge points. We're going to want at least one extra on the Playmaking because as you're going to see, that would get us to the silver handles for days, even with the gold Clamp Breaker core. We do want Hall of Fame Quick First Step and Unpluckable on gold. Hyperdrive's okay to miss out on. I would maybe like to add even 3 extra Playmaking to get Needle Threader on silver while still having silver handles for days. And it could work because all we need to do to add to shooting is just one more for the Hall of Fame Deadeye if you did want to run the double shooting core. Now, like I said, if you don't have the double shooting core, I would likely just plan on the fact that you can't run Deadeye, and it's okay, to be honest, to be able to miss out on something like that. But either way, you want to add 1 extra shooting badge point because as you're going to see, if you couldn't core Limitless Range extra for, like, let's say, boom, you could do it right here, and then boom, do it right here if you have the double shooting core. If you don't have the double shooting core, you're going to need 1 extra point for Limitless on Hall of Fame, and even if you do have the extra shooting core, you're going to need 1 extra point for Hall of Fame Deadeye. Now, this is also not using Hall of Fame Catch and Shoot or Amped. I don't think Amped is necessary for a shooting guard where you're going to be just more so off ball. If you catch it, it's late in the clock. There's no way you burn your adrenaline and like stamina that quick or anything like that. And then for catch and shoot, it is a tough thing to miss out on, but I think the Claymore is like a cheaper catch and shoot. To be honest, I'm more okay with like maybe not running catch and shoot at the expense of Claymore just because it's 2 extra badge points cheaper. Or if you want to trust and believe in 2K Labs, they say the difference between bronze and gold is not very different and you could just do the budget and go down from Hall of Fame to bronze. I know the Hall of Fame increase is pretty nice, but also as a shooting guard in Pro-Am, you might be chucking a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, your efficiency could be pretty solid, but point guards might throw you some grenades here and there. And I'm gonna be real with you, you look really, really selfish if you end up just not shooting the ball on a heavily contested with 1 second left just to not cancel out your green machine. I think it's actually a smart play. If you're super contested, it maybe is worth it depending on the rebounding position, but it's hard to judge in live time. So all I'm saying is green machine is nice and all to run on Hall of Fame, and I do respect your opinion of that if you would like to run it, because that's what I even had in the original loadout. But just keep in mind at shooting guard, you might get some grenades thrown to you because the point guard doesn't want to shoot those shots, and then subsequently you end up with the ball with 1 second left or 2 seconds left, and you got to fire some stuff up, and there goes your green machine, just like that. So if you are a believer in the idea of going bronze green machine instead, you could run Hall of Fame Catch and Shoot, Hall of Fame Mini Magician, drop your Claymore down to bronze as well, and maybe put extra shooting badge points in too. It's up to you. Like I said, if you want to run, let's say for instance needle threader instead of like, let's say some more claymore right here, you absolutely could, because then you could put the 2 extra into playmaking right here instead of 2 extra into shooting. But if you only go with that +1 playmaking, you could just do +3 shooting. Then at that point, boom, there you go. You can get this to gold and then get Deadeye to Hall of Fame. Or if you have any extras after that, between hitting like season levels and stuff like that of level 39, then boom, there you're looking at Hall of Fame Claymore, Hall of Fame Deadeye, Hall of Fame Limitless. If you have the double shooting core, you got Bronze Green Machine, and then you still have the Hall of Fame Magician, Hall of Fame Catch and Shoot. If you don't like Catch and Shoot, you could also just go all the way up to like Hall of Fame Green Machine, go all the way up to Hall of Fame Claymore, and then boom, there you are. And I just need 1 extra shooting, and here you are. Like, I mean, you got the double shooting core, and even if you don't go double shooting core, you can just add 1 more extra for the limitless range. As far as the finishing goes, if you really want to add one finishing for Silver Acrobat, I suppose it's not really worth it, to be honest with you though. I think just the Gold Giant Slayer, Silver Fearless Finisher, Silver Limitless Takeoff is really all you need, and it lines up perfectly because as you can see, if you have like even 1 less badge point spent in the tier 1s and tier 2s, that obviously takes away from the fact of being able to run Limitless Takeoff. So 16 finishing badge count, perfectly fine. Defensive badge count, we're perfectly fine with 2. There's really no reason to add any extra anywhere in here. So again, for your extra badge point, it's really all between playmaking and shooting. Simple as that. It's really just, do you want things like Catch and Shoot, Green Machine to be comfortable, and obviously you need 1 extra point between like the tier 3s to get the limitless range. Do you want things like, let's say, Hall of Fame Claymore? We've already talked about this pretty extensively, so you guys get what I'm saying between the playmaking and shooting. I don't think you're going to be able to run hyperdrive no matter what. You would need like 6 extra playmaking to get the +1 into the handles for days, and then still have +5 more for hyperdrive on gold. And I don't think hyperdrive is necessary as a shooting guard, in my opinion. Now maybe I think differently on this because me as the center on offense, aka kind of our technical small forward, I play as a 6'9" with like 87 ball handle as our pick and roller. I'm our secondary press break option. Now for most typical teams, they keep their shooting guard and point guard down, but for me, and I play it very differently. So for us, our shooting guard does not need hyperdrive literally at all. For me, hyperdrive in Pro-Am is literally just about beating press. Simple as that. Can you sprint downhill really quickly? Or maybe it's for 5-out option point guards where you really need to get downhill on your dribble moves because you're going a lot more like up down rather than like side to side, because obviously in pick and roll that's what it more so is, side to side movement, and hyperdrive doesn't matter quite as much. So on the shooting guard build, you can't really afford to run hyperdrive. I'll just keep it about as simple as that. Now, in a couple of days, there could be another like core badge pattern where, let's say, maybe they go with a 2 playmaking, 1 shooting, and then 1 defense. That's possible. I will say, if they come out with one that doesn't have defense, you're gonna have to make a hard decision right here, because then you're only able to run 1 tier 3 between Challenger or Interceptor. I'm getting ahead of myself because that's obviously not even a thing yet. I'm just trying to prepare you guys for if you wanted to make a new build and if the season rewards happen to be something like a core badge pattern. If there is one that has 0 defense, but it's at the expense of maybe adding a playmaking, and then you'd have like 2 playmaking, 2 shooting or something like that, that'd be really fire for this build. But again, it would mean that you're missing out on either Challenger or Interceptor at the expense of maybe coring, let's say, Hall of Fame Quick First Step for 6 points, or Silver Handles for Days for 6 points. Anyway, that's all for the build. We'll go over one last recap, though, of what I plan for this build to function as. So, it's a secondary ball handler. It could still function as a primary ball handler as long as you have 2 of them. That's what I will say. I think if you have 2 of these exact same builds and you guys wanted to dodge lock and you don't even play with a point guard, right? Let's say you just literally don't even run with a PG in the lineup and you have 2 of these builds right here. Well, I think that still could work. You just have to make sure you're not going at pure locks too often with this build. Hall of Fame glove with 99 steel going at an 89 ball handle gold unpluckable type build like this is going to be a tough scene. Not to mention you don't have an elite set of acceleration or anything like that to get away from the locks, and obviously, like I said, your ball handling and pass accuracy, not exactly the greatest. So if there is one knock to the build as far as running it as a point guard, it's that the pass accuracy is 75. And it's not exactly perfect, it's fine. It's just if you play against zone teams that are going like 3-2 zone spam, where they actually, like, there is some gameplay of this if you want to check it out. Apollo is at like kind of running the point guard with me on the 5-out team, and we were playing against a team that was running a 3-2 zone, but they were doing it in our Transformers style, where they keep 2 guards on me and Apollo in the pick and roll. They had their pure lock on the wing, and their pure lock swings to the stack side, aka the side with like a spot up on it, essentially. And that made it so he can play 2-on-1s, they can always rotate to him, and they had 2 bigs in each corner in a 3-2 that could both drop as well, both drop for rebounds, shot blocks, you know, like rotations, stuff like that. That is the one type of lineup I think a build like this will struggle with the 75 pass hack, is constant rotation spam over and over and over again, where they're doing it and they know it, but your pass accuracy might be a little bit too slow to dot it. But this build could still function in the point guard, like in the rec center and stuff like that too. It's a perfect 2 if you ask me, for Comp Pro-Am. And real quick, to show you a comparison, I just want to put the same exact build together at 6.3 and show you that you are missing some things. So we're gonna like copy and paste the 6.3 exactly over with these exact same ratings between the finishing, shooting, and playmaking and defense, but then I'm gonna show you how much of a hit it takes on your physicals. Alright, so just another example of why I hate 6.3s. As you can see, the perimeter defense and the steal rating don't even line up to 16 badge points. You can do whatever you want to try and get this stuff in a reasonable way. It doesn't even go to 16 for that matter. So you might even be better off actually just dropping your like badge count down to 15 and just putting an extra defensive badge point on. But then same goes for finishing, as you can see. So like we got to get the driving lay to 79 instead of 77, and then the close shot even has to go up to get this to like a 16 finishing badge count. And now as you can see, what are we left over is literally 75 speed, so 5 less speed and 10 less acceleration, just for having the exact same attribute ratings everywhere, plus a couple of maybe like ups, like driving layup and close shot up just a tad bit. But I'm just telling you guys, like that 6.3 versus 6.1 attribute point stuff is ridiculous, bro. Like this is exactly what we had: 80 prim D, 78 steal, with the ball handling, you know, playmaking stuff the exact same, shooting the exact same, with just a slight up. And let's just go ahead and make the example. We could go ahead and do this real quick just to make that example of what this build would look like if you didn't even do anything different. So at that point, we have 2 less finishing badges, and we can maybe put like, what, 1 more acceleration on, or 2, something like that. And as you can see, we're like 8 excel down, 5 speed down, and we're 2 finishing badge counts down and 1 defensive badge count down as well. So I'm just a bigger fan of the 6.1s in my personal opinion. It's a little bit better, if you ask me. Like, I would even say significantly better. And the only thing you really gain off being 6.3 is the ability to have standing dunk like above 40, which you can actually just perform standing dunks with. But in my opinion, other than that, I mean, the only thing you benefit is maybe a longer wingspan of 2 inches bigger. Obviously, a 2-inch taller height just in general. Your body frame's a little bit bigger as well, sure, I suppose. And with the fact that you have to play perimeter defense on the wing, it's understandable. But the amount of hit you take on this, don't sleep on how expensive acceleration is, man. I mean, I could go ahead and try and show you a build that has like low prim D to be able to get the 90 excel, but as you can see, like if you want to talk about a real loss right here, this is what we'd have to do to get a build down to like 90 acceleration and still have 5 less speed. If we want to talk about even keeping the same physicals in general, well, then we can go with something like this. But as you can see now, this is what it looks like. If you try and keep the same physicals of the last build, well, now we just have to take defense off entirely, and we still don't have the right finishing badge count. So maybe that's a better example, a more eye-opening example, so to say, of the difference between the 6.3s and 6.1s. And obviously you could take defense rebound off that, but then it gets us like what, 1 speed or something like that. Anyway, that's my whole point. 6.1, in my opinion, of the shooting guard with 99 3-pointer is the new meta build in Pro-Am, if you ask me. And I really do look forward to what we're going to be doing with this lineup, man. We got AK on this build right here if you want to check it out, the 6.1 point guard with a 6.4 wingspan, but it has 97 3-pointer Hall of Fame agent, and then it still has Hall of Fame clamp breaker with 96 ball handle, 94 acceleration, crazy stuff like that. And then this is our shooting guard right here with Apollo on a 6'1", 6'2" wingspan, 99 3-pointer. We're up in that 3-point rating a lot between our wings, and I do apologize to you guys for not really being more experimental with stuff like that in the early year. And again, I talk about this in every build video that we're doing nowadays. I don't expect you guys to make a new build to adjust to the meta. To be honest with you, it's still a perfectly fine build. The 6.3s people have, not really, I'm lying, but I think the 6'1" point guards that most people have are pretty good. The 6'3" shooting guard could use a real update though. I don't know why the heck people make it in the first place. I think they just do it to be valid, quote unquote, for like the 2K League and stuff. They don't want to be judged by the scouts that they're running something completely different outside the norm or whatever. Everybody wants to run the constant 6'1", 6'3", 6'7", 6'9", 7'2" lineup that nobody else will ever change out of or anything like that. It's just because of the scouts and not trying to be judged by the community for doing something weird and different. But anyway, that's all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to on noties. All good stuff. Like always, try to 1 to 2,000 likes. And if you made it to the end of the video, put 2 or put SG in the comments. Shorts purge my way through. Anyway, that's all. If you guys want to stay posted, we're going to have the lock build as well. I'm not going to be talking about like power forwards or anything. I'm probably just going to talk about the power forward and lockdown in the same video together, because my build that I utilize is going to be really different and outside the norm. And in my opinion, the 6'9" lock is becoming the meta that I kind of predicted for a while. I predicted at the beginning of the year. I don't think you need a 6'7" pure lock to defend these types of dudes. I think 6'9" is really, really good. And I think if people start getting with the memo on stuff like that and watch the video, for example, you're going to see the power of a 6'9" lock. But anyway, that's all. Stay posted for that one. If you want to check out the point guard, feel free to. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.